I still hear the champagne cork pop like a gunshot. My brother, Ryan, was beaming like a lunatic under the golden lights of the rooftop lounge he'd rented for his big night. I thought it was just his engagement party. Turns out it was the execution of my marriage. I was standing near the bar, holding 2 drinks, one for me, one for her, when I noticed she wasn't beside me anymore. Madison, my wife. My wife. Ryan tapped his glass, silencing the clinking and laughter. Everyone, can I have your attention? The room fell quiet. He smiled, slick and smug. I just want to thank you all for coming. This night is special not just because of our engagement. He turned slightly, scanning the crowd until his eyes landed on her. But because I owe everything to my soulmate. You know, the one who helps me run my business. A few polite chuckles. Then, casually, like it was a birthday toast, he pointed at Madison. Surprise. She's marrying me. The world tilted. For a second, no one reacted. Then laughter. Confused applause. Gasps. My mother's hand went at her mouth. My father whispered something I couldn't hear. But all I could focus on was her. Madison stood slowly, brushed down her emerald green dress, and nodded, like a queen accepting her crown. She smiled, but not at me. At him. Then, as the applause started to fade, she turned her head. Her cold gray eyes locked on mine. And she said, I have my own announcement. Silence again. You could hear ice melting in the glasses. She walked toward me. Click, click, click. Each step like a countdown to something irreversible. She stopped an arm's length away, took the drink out of my hand without asking, sipped it, and said, We were never a real couple, Jason. You were a routine. He was a risk. I chose adventure. That's what she called this? She spun back to the crowd, raised her glass, and said, to starting over, with someone who actually knows how to make me feel alive. Laughter again. Only this time, it wasn't lighthearted. It was cruel. And I just stood there. Silent. Frozen. Like some museum exhibit called The Fool. In my head, 1,000 pieces shattered. Memories, our wedding, her laying in bed saying forever, the way she once cried when I got promoted, all turned to dust. I didn't even feel the glass slip from my hand. Didn't hear it crash to the floor. Ryan wrapped his arm around her waist like he'd just won a trophy. I couldn't move. Not yet. But something inside me shifted. A quiet detonation. This wasn't a betrayal. This was war. The ride home was silent, but my head screamed louder than any car engine. I didn't speak. I didn't even look at her. Madison sat in the passenger seat like nothing happened, scrolling on her phone, laughing quietly at something, legs crossed, lipstick still perfect. Not a single word of regret. Not even shame. Just scrolling. I pulled into the driveway. She didn't wait for the car to fully stop before opening the door. She stepped out, heels clacking against the concrete, and said over her shoulder, Don't be dramatic, Jason. You'll thank me one day. I didn't answer. I watched her disappear into the house, into the home we bought together 2 years ago. She was already undoing her earrings by the time I walked in. She turned and looked at me like I was the inconvenience. You just going to stand there and sulk, or is it real? I finally asked. My voice didn't shake. I made sure of that. You and Ryan? She smirked. Define real. Are you sleeping with him? She laughed, walked right up to me and whispered, That's such a small part of it. My fists clenched. I turned away. Don't you dare pull that victim act, Jason, she snapped. You stopped being interesting the moment you chose spreadsheets over spontaneity. The moment you cared more about paying off the mortgage than touching me like I mattered. I stared at her. You could have talked to me. I did. You didn't listen. No, I said, stepping forward. You didn't scream loud enough for it to echo into Ryan's bed. So you just climbed in and hoped I wouldn't notice. Oh, please. Stop pretending like you're shocked. You've been coasting. Playing husband. Playing safe. I outgrew you, Jason. That sentence, I outgrew you, hit harder than any physical punch. I looked around the house. Our photos. Our shared mess. Our dog's bed in the corner. The life I thought we built. She tilted her head, almost playfully. You gonna cry now? No, I said, calmly. I'm going to shower. And tomorrow, I'll start making arrangements. What arrangements? I turned my back to her. Legal ones. Her voice rose, sharp now. Don't be stupid. I didn't answer. I walked upstairs and locked the bathroom door behind me. Under the shower, I didn't cry. I planned. That night I slept in the guest room. She didn't come to check on me. Didn't knock. Didn't care. But at 3 a.m., I heard her laughing softly on the phone. With him. My brother. Her voice floated through the wall, sickeningly sweet. You should have seen his face, she whispered, giggling. He looked like a kicked puppy. Then silence. Then more laughter. I closed my eyes and made a decision. She wanted war? She'd get it. The next morning, I left before sunrise. I didn't slam the door. Didn't make a sound. Let her sleep in the warmth of her betrayal while I drove to the one person I could trust, my cousin Eric. He's a divorce attorney. A damn good one. And more importantly, he hates Ryan. He didn't ask why I was there when I showed up at his door. Just poured 2 cups of black coffee and said, "Tell me everything." So I did. I told him about the rooftop, the announcement, the mockery, the way she looked at me like I was something sticky on her shoe. I even told him about the call at 3 a.m., the way she giggled about my pain like it was a party game. He didn't interrupt. Just nodded, the way someone does when they're already writing the strategy in their head. "Here's what we do," he said, sliding a legal pad toward me. "First, we freeze the joint accounts. Today. Then, we start gathering proof. Texts, call logs, shared assets, all of it. You let her make the first move while we set up the real strike." I didn't blink. "What about the business?" "Ryan's." I nodded. Eric smiled, but it wasn't friendly. "We'll get to that. Let's focus on taking her down first." By noon, I had new bank accounts opened, passwords changed, and a lock on every financial door she used to have access to. I even transferred the title of the car, my car, back into my name. Legally, it had always been mine, but I made sure now it was bulletproof. I returned home around 3 p.m. She was in the kitchen, scrolling on her phone, drinking the last of my wine. She looked up. "You were gone a while." "I was busy." She raised an eyebrow. "Doing what?" "Crying to your mom." I smiled. "Planning your future." That caught her off guard. Just for a second. Then the smirk returned. "Oh, how dramatic. Still pretending like you matter in this story?" "No," I said, calmly. "I'm rewriting the whole damn script." She rolled her eyes and went back to her phone. "You're boring me." I walked past her, tossed an envelope on the table. "You'll want to read that." She didn't touch it. "What is it?" "Your first notice." "Notice of what?" "Separation. And a formal request for financial disclosure." She finally looked at me. And for the first time in a long time, there was no smirk. "You're actually doing this?" "I told you," I said. "I'm not playing husband anymore." She stood, rage flickering beneath the surface. "You think you can just walk away from this like you're the victim? You think people are going to believe you? I don't need them to believe me. I just need the court to see the facts." "And Ryan?" "He's next. You can't touch him." I leaned in close, voice low. "You gave me the keys when you dragged our marriage into his bedroom." She slapped the envelope off the table. "You're pathetic." "No," I said, turning to walk upstairs. "I was pathetic when I still believed you loved me." Behind me, the silence was louder than any scream. And in that silence, I knew I had just taken back control. That night, she didn't cook, didn't speak, didn't even slam doors to make a scene. She stayed in the master bedroom, likely texting Ryan, her new prize. I stayed downstairs, scrolling through memories like a masochist, wedding photos, vacation clips, her fake smile in every frame. I deleted them one by one. Every picture was a lie. Every "I love you" was a performance. But I kept one video, just one. The one where she drunkenly confessed how lost she'd be without me. She cried in it. She said I was her anchor. I didn't keep it because I believed her. I kept it because I was going to use it. By morning, she was gone. No note. No explanation. Her clothes still filled the closet. Her perfume still poisoned the hallway. But she was gone. I didn't need to ask where. Her absence was an answer. She was at Ryan's. Good. Let her be. I drove to Eric's office with my laptop and the printed documents he asked for, bank statements, shared passwords, business emails. We sat in his glass-walled office overlooking the city, and he worked like a surgeon carving out every legal advantage I could use. "She thinks she's clever," he said, I skimming a line of flagged transactions. "But she made a mistake." "Which one?" "Using your joint account to buy his company's marketing services. That's marital money funding his business. We can make a case for theft, financial infidelity, maybe even fraud, depending how deep this rabbit hole goes." I didn't speak. Just watched the printer slowly spit out page after page of their betrayal in black and white. Eric leaned back. "You want to destroy her publicly or quietly?" "Both." He nodded. "Then let's time it right." 3 days passed before I heard from her. She texted. Not called. Not even a voicemail. "Maddie, we need to talk. You're being ridiculous." I waited 5 minutes, then replied, "Come home. Let's talk in person." That night she walked through the door like nothing had happened. Hair done, nails fresh, lipstick on, like she was stepping into a photo shoot. She looked around, probably expecting a trap. "You came alone?" she asked. I nodded. She sat on the edge of the couch, crossing her legs like she owned the place. "Okay. You made your point. Now stop the tantrum. We can fix this." "Fix?" "Yes. You file for separation, not divorce. I stay here until Ryan and I figure things out quietly. You can save face. No one needs to know the dirty details." I stared at her. "You want to use me as your cover? Grow up, Jason. People lie. Marriages evolve. You either adapt, or you get left behind. And what do I get in this arrangement?" She smiled sweetly. "Freedom. Peace. Time to find someone better for you." I stood, walked to the cabinet, and pulled out the folder. "Here's what you really get," I said. "Court papers. Financial breakdown. Every transaction you made behind my back. Every message you sent while I was asleep next to you." Her expression shifted slowly from smug to stunned. "You think Ryan will want to merge businesses with someone under legal fire?" I added. "You wouldn't." "I already did." She stood up. "You think this makes you the hero?" "No," I said, walking past her. "It just makes you the villain with a headline coming." Her voice cracked then. "Just slightly. You loved me. I loved the version of you that never existed." She didn't follow me as I went upstairs. She didn't sleep in the house that night. And for the first time in months, I did. The next morning, her side of the closet was empty. Hangers clinked against each other like bones. A few perfume bottles remained on the dresser, like souvenirs from a life I didn't ask to remember. She hadn't texted. Not even a sarcastic jab. Silence from her was louder than all her venom combined. "Good." Eric called just after noon. She lawyered up. I smiled. Knew she would. "Also," he added, "your brother's company just received notice of pending investigation regarding misuse of marital funds." That made me pause. "She'll crack," Eric continued. "Ryan's too arrogant to think the law applies to him, and she's too selfish to go down with someone else. She'll cut a deal. She'll turn on him." "Let her," I said. "Let them eat each other alive." I wasn't angry anymore. Not in the screaming, red-eyed, revenge-fueled way. No, I was ice. Focused. Calculated. Every move now was deliberate. She thought she was clever playing two brothers against each other. She didn't realize I was willing to burn the bridge and the forest it stood in. 2 days later, I got a call from a mutual friend, Hannah. She sounded hesitant, almost apologetic. I wasn't going to say anything, but they're already planning a wedding. "What?" I asked, not because I was surprised, just because I wanted to hear it out loud. "Yeah, Ryan told some people it'll be in Italy. A private thing. Says he's never felt more alive." I bit my cheek until I tasted blood. "He also said," she continued slowly, "you were emotionally unstable and that Madison was rescuing you." There it was. Their next move, rewrite the narrative. Make me the madman, the failure, the sob story while they flaunt their betrayal as destiny. But I wasn't broken. I was prepared. The next morning, I released everything. Emails, photos, timeline receipts, voicemails. The drunken video of her gushing about how much I saved her life, how no one ever loved her like I did. I sent it all to a small circle, close friends, family, a few colleagues. No captions. No rage. Just truth. It spread faster than I thought it would. And it hit harder than they expected. By sunset, Ryan's business partner had withdrawn from the merger. His fiancée, not Madison, canceled her flight back from New York. And Madison called me. Blocked number. I answered in silence. "You vindictive little coward," she hissed. "You think you've won something?" I stayed quiet. "You just turned everyone against me." "No," I finally replied. "You did that the moment you said, 'I choose adventure.'" I just held up the mirror. She started to say something else, but I hung up. No more conversations. No more pity. No more her. I walked into my kitchen, made myself a drink, and sat on the back deck. The night was calm, stars starting to peek through the dark. And for the first time in a long time, I wasn't thinking about her. I was thinking about me. What came next? What I was going to build from the ashes. A week passed. The silence from her end turned into noise elsewhere. Ryan's company started hemorrhaging clients, small ones at first, but then a few bigger names pulled out too. Turns out, no one wants to partner with a man who publicly stole his own brother's wife and ran his business on borrowed marital funds. I didn't have to do anything after that. The truth had velocity. All I had to do was stay out of the way and let gravity do its thing. Then came the real twist. Eric called, voice laced with amusement. Guess who just reached out for a settlement? I didn't answer. Madison. Her lawyer says she's emotionally distraught and wants to resolve things peacefully. She's offering to walk away from everything if you stop pursuing the case against Ryan. I laughed. For the first time in weeks, genuinely. She wants me to spare him? Yep. What do you think? I think we let her twist in the wind a bit longer. Later that evening, she emailed me directly. Not her lawyer. Not through someone else. Just her. A long, rambling letter titled, What We Lost. She wrote like someone performing vulnerability. Words like connection, misunderstood, wounded hearts, emotional decay. She used phrases I'd once fallen for back when I believed tears meant truth. She ended it with, I know what we did was wrong, but you can't tell me there wasn't something broken between us already. Maybe I just found the courage to do what you couldn't, walk away first. Courage? She called betrayal courage. I didn't reply. I archived the email. Let it rot in silence. The next day, her lawyer tried again, more desperate this time, offering to forfeit her stake in everything. House, savings, joint investments, in exchange for a non-disclosure agreement and a drop suit against Ryan. Eric called it poetic justice. I called it a down payment for peace. So I agreed, on one condition. I wanted one final meeting. Not legal, not recorded, just face-to-face. She agreed. Of course she did. We met in a neutral location, a conference room in Eric's office. She wore black, dramatic, fitted. She always dressed for power when she felt none. She walked in slowly, looked me over like she wanted to gauge if I was still bleeding. I wasn't. You look, well, she said softly. I nodded. You don't. She sat, placed her manicured hands on the table. Why did you ask for this meeting? I leaned forward, so I could say it to your face. You didn't break me. Her lips parted like she wanted to respond, maybe to deny she ever tried. But she stayed silent. You tried to humiliate me in front of everyone I loved, I continued. You turned the man I trusted most into a knife. And for what? Status? Excitement? You were the storm, Madison. But I wasn't the house you could tear down. She blinked slowly, expression unreadable. I'm not angry anymore, I added. I'm free. And you're stuck with a man who cheats with brothers, burns bridges, and loses everything he touches. That's your prize. She stood, and for the first time, she didn't look proud. She looked scared. Maybe not of me. Maybe just of the reflection she saw in the glass walls around us. She left without another word, and I watched her go, this time not with grief, or rage, or regret. Just relief. A month passed. The divorce finalized quietly. No court appearances, no drawn-out drama. She signed everything. Walked away with nothing but her pride, and even that, frayed at the edges. Ryan's business tanked by the second quarter. The bad press clung to him like rot. Investors pulled out. His name was radioactive. I didn't lift a finger. Didn't need to. Turns out, when someone builds a kingdom on lies, the foundation caves in all by itself. He tried to call me once. Just once. I let it ring. What could he possibly say? Sorry I stole your wife? Sorry I toasted your destruction in front of a crowd? No. Whatever he had to say, I wanted it to live in his throat forever, unspoken, choking him slowly. Madison vanished off the radar. No social media posts. No mutual friends asking about her. It was like the world just moved on without her. And I did too. I sold the house. Packed every memory into boxes and left most of them on the curb. I didn't want the couch we picked out together. I didn't want the dishes she loved or the art she hung in the hallway. I bought a small condo downtown. Minimalist. Clean. Quiet. The kind of space that didn't echo her voice. And for the first time in years, I remembered what silence actually sounded like. Not the tense, cold kind. The peaceful kind. I started running in the mornings again. Eating better. Reading. I found pieces of myself buried under all the compromise I had made trying to love a woman who only ever loved herself. One night, I sat on the balcony with a whiskey in hand, city lights blinking like they were winking at me. And I realized something. She didn't destroy me. She revealed me. All this time, I thought love meant endurance. Holding on, even when it hurt. Forgiving when it felt like swallowing glass. But love isn't sacrifice without return. It's not tolerating disrespect just because you once shared a bed. Love is meant to be chosen daily. And she chose someone else. So I chose myself. If you're reading this and you're where I was confused, heartbroken, humiliated, listen to me. Don't beg. Don't chase. Don't try to fix what someone else smashed while smiling. Stand up. Walk out. And watch how fast the darkness disappears when you stop feeding it your hope. You'll survive. Not just that, you'll thrive. I'm not saying revenge heals. I'm saying that peace is the loudest answer you'll ever give. And some people only realize what they lost when they can't reach you anymore. Let that be enough. 6 months later, I got the final piece of closure I didn't even know I wanted. It was a random Tuesday. Gray skies, light drizzle, the kind of day you forget unless something happens to mark it. I was coming out of a meeting when I saw her. Madison. She was standing on the sidewalk, under a cheap umbrella, soaked anyway. Hair pulled back. No makeup. Her heels looked worn. Her coat was too thin for the weather. She saw me before I saw her. But she didn't move. Didn't wave. Just stared. I could have walked right past. Pretended she didn't exist. But something in her eyes stopped me, not guilt, not anger. Just hollow. I walked up slowly. She tried to pull herself upright, put on a version of that old confident smile, but it crumbled before it fully formed. Jason, she said quietly. Madison. You look different. I am. She opened her mouth, then closed it. We stood there, strangers with the same last name, at least for now. She looked thinner. Not just in body. In presence. I heard about Ryan, I said. She flinched. Yeah. He left. Turns out, he was cheating on me. Of course he was. She laughed, but it was bitter and dry. I guess I got what I gave. I didn't reply. I wasn't there to rub salt in wounds. I was already healed. I lost everything, she said. The house, the business, him, you. She looked up at me, eyes glassy. Do you ever think about us? I looked at her, truly looked, and finally understood. She was the echo of a storm already past. A shadow I'd outgrown. No, I said. I think about who I used to be. And I'm glad I'm not him anymore. She blinked fast, biting her lip. I'm sorry, she whispered. But I wasn't there for her redemption. I nodded once. Take care of yourself. Then I turned, walked away, and didn't look back. Because the man I was now didn't live in the ruins she left behind. He had built something better. And for the first time in a long time, I was free.